Well, good morning, Catalina Foothills Church and friends. Pastor John Stone with our Tuesday morning devotion. And we're in Romans 13. We'll be there this Sunday and look forward to it. Romans 13 is a passage that discusses submitting ourselves to the governing authorities. And in the broader context, 13 is emphasizing the point he did in 12, the second half of 12, which is love one another because love fulfills the law. So he says in chapter 13, verse 1, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you'll be commended, for the one in authority is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoers. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also as a matter of conscience. There are many places in Scripture that can be challenging to know how to, obey and submit. And I think this is, pardon me for hitting the camera, this is one of the hardest ones. And I would just say, as born and raised in South Carolina, born and raised in a very conservative family, born and raised as someone who loves the United States of America, who was a history major, who my emphasis in college was early American history, who understands the Bill of Rights, the Declaration, the War for Independence, and the whole question around taxation and why the United States is here, and the freedoms and liberties, and even the thought process coming out of the West, out of Western Europe, which sort of formed the United States, and all that goes into that. This is a difficult question, because you and I as Christians primarily define ourselves as free. I don't mean free from Christ, and we want to be good citizens, and this passage is asking us to be good citizens. But if you begin with this fundamental idea that we are free, we'll misunderstand Paul, because Paul is not here writing this underneath the American Constitution or with any idea there'll be an American Constitution and a Bill of Rights and freedom and liberty and a representative government. He's writing this under a Caesar, under a despot, under an evil king who's hurting Jewish people, who's hurting Christians. And he's writing to the seat of that power, a power that's not being used for good sometimes. The Roman legion abused people. It was an amazing group. They built amazing things, the Roman legion, and accomplished amazing things. But it wasn't all for good. No Christian would look at what the Roman legion did, or look at what Rome did, or look at what the Caesars did and go, oh, that's good. That's what we want. And Paul is saying in that context to him and his listeners, we are to submit to the ruling authorities because God is the one who established them. It's very difficult to say this. He's not saying it, and we have to be careful not to say this, that God established Rome, therefore it's a Christian country, or God established America, therefore it's a Christian country. That's not true. Christians were involved in Rome, and we see that in the Scriptures where people are pointed out who serve in different Herod's household, and Christians have served in America, but neither of them is Christian, right? When we die and go to heaven, there'll be a king. But this is a difficult command, but I just want us to see two things, and I've kind of rambled on because I want us to see what's in our heart. We want our freedoms. We want to be left alone. We want liberty. And I am in no sense bringing judgment on that, but I want us to recognize that whatever authority is, God has established it, and that's hard. This is incredibly hard. God has established the authorities, and the authorities are changing currently often their interpretation of what we are and what we ought to be. And yet it is God who's established the authorities, and we are to submit to them, and we are to obey them. Certainly we can go to the polls, and we should go to the polls, and we should vote our opinion, and we should vote for people that we want to see govern in a certain way. We should pray that certain people are removed and other people are brought in, certainly, but we must submit to a government that is increasingly difficult for us. So these words are very hard. And what's underlying them is verse 8. Let no debt remain outstanding, the debt of obedience to the government, except the continuing debt to love one another. Whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. We are to submit to the government in some sense because our respect, our submission is a picture of our worship. It's a picture of who we think God is. And hear me on this. I mean, when you put these things on video, they are out there forever. Incredibly difficult to apply this passage and understand this passage. And yet, Paul is writing this under a far more difficult government than we now serve under and live under. So I just want to challenge my heart and your heart, whether it's driving the speed limit or stopping at stop signs or paying taxes, which he mentions here, or the way we talk about those over us, that we are in all of those ways, as we talk about those in governance, as we pay our taxes, as we drive, we're showing what we think about God. I know this is a little bit longer devotional this morning. Tough passage. Look forward to being with you on Sunday. If you can be with us in person, hope you'll do that. If you're with us in video, we'll see you there. But let everyone be subject to governing authorities, for there is no authority except which God has established, none. Tough verse. Good to be with you. Have a great day.